Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because today's story is an absolute rollercoaster. It's set right here in Nigeria, packed with laughs, chaos, and that Lagos hustle we all know too well. Picture this, a guy named Chinedu, who's got big dreams but zero luck, stumbling into the wildest adventure of his life. Trust me, you'll be hooked till the very end. Let's dive in. Chinedu Okoro was your typical Lagos hustler, the kind of guy who woke up every morning with a plan to conquer the world but ended up conquering nothing more than a plate of akara and bread from the roadside vendor. At 28, he lived in a cramped one-room apartment in Ikeja, sharing walls with neighbors who argued louder than a Nollywood drama. His day job? Selling phone accessories at Computer Village, where the air was thick with the smell of fried plantain and the constant haggling of customers trying to beat you down to nothing. Chinedu, my brother, when are you going to make it big? His best friend, Emeka, would tease him over bottles of Costa beer at their favorite spot, Mama Ngozi's Buka. Emeka was the opposite, smooth-talking, always dressed like he was heading to a wedding, and somehow always landing gigs that paid in dollars. Chinedu, on the other hand, had a face that screamed, trustworthy but broke, with a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow and shirts that looked like they'd been ironed with a downfall bus. One sweltering afternoon, as Chinedu wiped sweat from his brow while arguing with a customer over a fake charger, his phone buzzed. It was his auntie from the village, Auntie Ngozi, not the Buka owner, but the one who believed in juju more than Jesus. Chinedu, my son, I have a vision for you, she declared in her thick Igbo accent that made everything sound like a prophecy. The ancestors whispered to me last night. You must start a jollof rice business. Jollof is gold in Lagos. People will queue from here to Abuja for your special recipe. Chinedu laughed it off at first. Jollof rice. Everyone in Nigeria thought their jollof was the best, Ghanaians be damned. But Auntie Ngozi was persistent. She sent him a faded handwritten recipe from their family, passed down from his great-grandmother who supposedly cooked for the colonial governors. This one has a secret spice, she said. It will make mouths water and wallets open. Desperate for a change from hawking cracked screen protectors, Chinedu decided to give it a shot. He pulled his savings, N50,000 from months of skipping meals, and rented a tiny stall near Oshodi Market. He called it Chinedu's Jollof Empire. The sign was hand-painted by a local artist who misspelled empire as empire, but Chinedu figured it added character. Opening day was a disaster waiting to happen. Chinedu arrived at dawn, pots clanging like a one-man band. He fired up the gas cooker, chopped onions until his eyes watered like he'd watched a sad movie, and stirred in the secret spice, a mix of thyme, curry, and something Auntie Ngozi swore was blessed by the gods. The aroma wafted through the air, drawing curious glances from passers-by. First customer, a belly downfall driver named Boba turned. Oga, give me one plate, sharp sharp, he barked. Chinedu served it up with pride, steaming hot jollof, fried plantain on the side, and a piece of chicken that looked like it had seen better days. Bobaton took one bite, his eyes widened, and he let out a whoop. This na fire. Wetin you put inside? No jazz. Word spread faster than Lagos traffic clears on a Sunday. By noon, a line formed. Office workers in starched shirts, market women with wrappers tight, even a few Oyinbo tourists snapping photos. Chinedu was in heaven, counting naira notes like he'd hit the lottery. This is it, he thought. I'm finally making it. But fate, that sneaky trickster, had other plans. Enter Madame Vero, the self-proclaimed queen of jollof in Oshodi. She ran a massive buka across the street, where her jollof was legendary, spicy enough to make you sweat, but not so much you'd need a fire extinguisher. Madame Vero was built like a tank, with arms that could lift a goat and a glare that could curdle milk. When she saw Chinedu's line snaking around the block, she marched over like a general inspecting troops. Who be this small boy stealing my customers? She thundered, hands on hips. Chinedu, mid-scoop, froze. Auntie, good afternoon. I'm just starting small. Small? You call this small? Your jollof they smell like wetting. Perfume. She snatched a spoonful from a customer's plate, without asking, of course, and tasted it. Her face twisted like she'd bitten a lemon. Oh. This na copycat. You thief my recipe. Chinedu protested, but Madame Vero wasn't having it. She stormed back to her buka, muttering curses that involved Chinedu's ancestors and a few unprintable words. That night, as Chinedu counted his earnings, N20,000 in one day, he felt invincible. Little did he know, the jollof wars had begun. The next morning, Chinedu arrived to find his stall vandalized. Pots overturned, rice scattered like confetti, and a note pinned to the sign, "Stay in your lane or face the heat." He knew it was Madame Vero, but proving it. In Lagos, where police were more interested in collecting a gunge than solving crimes. Forget it. Undeterred, Chinedu cleaned up and reopened. But Madame Vero escalated. She hired area boys, those street toughs with tattoos and attitudes, to loiter near his stall, scaring off customers with glares and accidental bumps. One even tripped and spilled a bucket of water into Chinedu's rice pot. Oops, the guy said with a grin wider than the third mainland bridge. Chinedu called Emeka for backup. Bro, this woman won't finish me. Emeka, ever the schemer, laughed. Fight fire with fire, my guy. Let's spy on her. Find out her secret and beat her at her own game. So, that evening, disguised in oversized agbadas and fake beards, Emeka's idea, straight out of a bad spy movie, they snuck into Madame Vero's buka after closing. Hiding behind sacks of rice, they watched as she prepared her famous jollof. See. She dey add crayfish and stockfish, nor why is sweet like that, Emeka whispered. But then, disaster struck. Chinedu sneezed, allergies from the dust, and Madame Vero spun around like a hawk. Thieves! Area boys, come oh! Chaos ensued. Emeka bolted like Usain Bolt, but Chinedu tripped over a pot, landing face first in a pile of onions. The area boys dragged him out, laughing hysterically. Madame Vero loomed over him. You again. Now you dey spy. I go show you pepper. Instead of calling the police, she had a better idea. You want learn jollof? Fine. Work for me 1 week, free. Clean pots, chop onions, no pay. Or I tell everyone you be thief. Chinedu had no choice. For 7 days, he slaved in her kitchen, learning the ropes while plotting his revenge. He discovered her secret was just extra Maggi cubes and a dash of locust beans, nothing magical. But he also learned her weakness, she was terrified of rats. One night, a rodent scampered across the floor, and she screamed like a banshee, climbing onto a table. On his last day, Chinedu accidentally left a window open. That night, a family of rats invaded, courtesy of Lagos' infamous rodent population. Madame Vero's buka was shut down for fumigation, and customers flocked back to Chinedu. Victory tasted sweet, like jollof with extra chicken. But the story doesn't end there. Oh no, this is Lagos, where one win leads to 10 more problems. With business booming, Chinedu decided to expand. He hired his cousin, Ifeanyi, a fresh graduate from Unilag with more book smarts than street sense. Ifeanyi was tall, lanky, and wore glasses that made him look like a professor in training. Oga Chinedu, let's go viral, he said. Post on Instagram, TikTok, make jollof dances or something. They filmed a video, Chinedu stirring rice while Ifeanyi rapped about the best jollof in Niger. It was cringy, but it worked. Views poured in, and soon, influencers were tagging them. One day, a big-shot Nollywood actress, Chioma the diva, reposted it. This jollof slaps. Coming to try it tomorrow. Excitement levels through the roof. Chinedu prepared extra batches, even splurged on fresh goat meat. But when Chioma arrived in her gleaming SUV, flanked by bodyguards and a camera crew, things went south, literally. First, a power outage hit. Nipa, that unreliable friend, decided to take a nap. Chinedu's gas cooker was fine, but the fan stopped, turning the stall into a sauna. Chioma, in her designer dress, started fanning herself. Is this how you treat celebrities? Then, Ifeanyi, trying to impress, served her a plate with a flourish and slipped on a banana peel, classic comedy gold. The plate flew, landing squarely on Chioma's lap. Rice everywhere, planting in her weave. She shrieked, "You ruined my outfit. This is Gucci." The camera crew captured it all. By evening, the video was trending, Nollywood stars Jollof disaster. Chinedu thought he was done for. But Nigerians being Nigerians, the comments were hilarious. That jollof so good, it jumped on her. Chioma now wearing edible fashion. Orders skyrocketed, people wanted the famous flying jollof. Chioma, to her credit, laughed it off later and even endorsed him on her page. Chinedu's Jollof Empire, where the food fights back. Business tripled. Emboldened, Chinedu aimed higher, entered the annual Lagos Food Festival, where the best cooks competed for the title of Jollof King. The prize: and 1 million and a spot on a national TV show. Madam Vero was defending her crown, of course. Prep was intense. Chinedu practiced recipes, adding twists like smoked turkey and a hint of coconut milk for creaminess. Emeka handled marketing, printing flyers that said, "Taste the revolution." Ifeanyi managed socials, hyping it up with memes. Festival Day arrived at Eco Atlantic, with tents buzzing like a beehive. Celebrities, food bloggers, even the governor's aide showed up. Chinedu's stall was decked out with balloons and a banner that now correctly spelled Empire. The competition, blind taste test by judges, including a famous chef from Abuja. Madam Vero shot Chinedu a smug look. "Small boy, you know rich." As judging began, Chinedu served his masterpiece. But midway, a storm rolled in, Lagos rain, the kind that floods streets in minutes. Tents leaked, people scrambled. In the chaos, someone's goat, yes, a live goat from a nearby stall, broke loose and charged into Chinedu's area, knocking over his pot. Jollof splashed everywhere, including on the judges' table. Pandemonium. The goat munched on spilled rice, judges wiped sauce from their shirts, and Madame Vero cackled like a villain. "See? Even animals reject your food." But the judges tasted what remained. One bit into a savage spoonful and paused. This is extraordinary. The flavors dance. Against all odds, Chinedu won. The goat incident. It became the festival's highlight, trending as goat-approved jollof. Madame Vero conceded gracefully, sort of. "Next year, I go win back," she grumbled, but she even bought a plate from him later. With the prize money, Chinedu upgraded to a proper restaurant in Lekki, complete with AC and wait staff. Emeka became his manager, Ifeanyi the social media guru. Auntie Ngozi visited, beaming. "I told you, the ancestors knew." Life wasn't perfect, Lagos traffic still sucked, Nipa still played games, but Chinedu had made it. From a broke hustler to the Jollof King, all because of a little spice, a lot of laughs, and the unbreakable Nigerian spirit. And that's the story, folks. If you laughed, cried, or from laughing, or got hungry, drop a like and comment below. What's your craziest Lagos hustle story? Subscribe for more tales like this. Until next time, keep hustling and stay blessed.